A preconceived notion. There are so many. I mean, name it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think preconceived notion is that I'm a very frivolous character, you know. And of now, when I was getting into this promotional campaign, my wife happened to mention to me that you're such a deep thinker. You are so intellectual and
Yeah.
intelligent, and you've been in the business for 10 years, and people just don't know that about you. And I feel like they should. There's a name, Deepika Padukone. What is she? You know, when you add all of these things, I also recognize that she is more accomplished than I am. She's more evolved a person than I am. She's always been throughout her life more independent than I am. You know, I'm getting there. I wouldn't even say taking steps. I'm taking strides towards that kind of evolution and independence. But she's already there, and I recognize that. I'm well aware of that. I can be that objective, and I also recognize that her emotional intelligence is superior to mine. Wife happened to mention to me that you're such a deep thinker. You are so intellectual and
Yeah.
intelligent, and you've been in the business for 10 years, and people just don't know that about you. My father, where you know, when I've witnessed that in times of adversity, how he'd put every ounce of himself into the relentless pursuit of protecting us and providing for us. He would do anything to make sure that we were protected. And in the worst of times, and everybody's life has ups and downs, there's good and bad sometimes.
Hello everyone, I'm Radrani and welcome to Speak Easy. My guest today can do pretty much everything. He's someone who's known to be a chameleon on screen, and like I said, I don't think there's anything that he can't do. I'm talking about the very versatile and talented Ranveer Singh. Hello.
Namaskar, Rudrani ji. Namaskar. It's been a minute. It's good to see you on Speak Easy.
Speak Easy.
Therefore, I will take that very seriously and
Absolutely.
speak very easy.
Very easy, always.
टांगे ऊपर कर लें.
बिल्कुल.
हाँ,
Absolutely.
comfortable हो जाएं.
और क्या?
किसी को चाहिए तकिया? ले बेटा सो जाओ.
बिल्कुल.
हाँ.
Well done.
Speak easy. Let us speak.
Bilkul. It's important for me to probably tell the ones who are watching that how important Ranveer always takes his promotions along with his movies. You're always still in the character because, you know, music ke through ya kahin na kahin. And that I think also gives a peek into how much you can't let go of and how into you're into it, isn't it? Channelizing a little bit.
I don't know any other way. I'm always all in, and no half measures. So yeah, I feel like movie promotions ought to give you a flavor, an essence, a vibe, as they say,
Yeah.
of the film that you're promising. So yeah, everything from the set, the beautiful set that YRF has made, to the clothes, to the music, everything should be in that flavor. I feel like otherwise everything is like just pretty much too generic, right? Very standard. So yeah, I mean, I used to not enjoy movie promotions. I used to feel like, man, I just want to act in the movies. I don't want to go out and have to sell them. But now it's become sort of like a necessity or a norm. The producer most certainly would like it. I have now changed my perspective. I look upon movie promotions as a time to have fun. I feel like, you know, there's, on one hand, you have an artist, like I believe at one point, I think I read somewhere Johnny Depp acts in his movies and then he doesn't even watch those movies, let alone go out and promote, you know. So, this is the norm currently. Hopefully, I'll have enough stature and clout at some point where I will then change the norm. I
also feel like it's a medium where you get to also show the real side of you. I know there's already social media to the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
Like it helps, right?
I agree. I accept that. It is most certainly an opportunity to engage people in your off-screen avatar or persona and give them an insight into who you are and what makes you tick. Yeah, but like I didn't sign up for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just personally, if you ask me, I'd be more than happy just acting in movies.
I read somewhere that you take inspiration from your father for this character of Jayeshbhai. Explain to me how that happens, and also a little on the fact that you have such very strong and inspiring women in your life. I'm sure this role in a way was, you must have kept them in your mind as well when you thought of the discrimination that women face.
I'm so glad you asked. It was just this morning I was speaking with someone and they were like, thank you for this film. It's happened to me. I said, what do you mean? Said, my dadi refused to come and see my face when I was born, let alone hug me or take me in her arms. My father had to beg her to accept me. And I learned this much later in life and I was so hurt. And you're dealing with these types of themes in this film. So thank you for that. It's a very personal connect that I have to it. And it really touched me, it really moved me, the fact that she shared that with me. And furthermore, I think it's more widespread in our country and our culture than we think. And that I find is a very significant aspect of a film like this. So I'm very proud to be a part of a film which has this kind of message embedded in what is essentially a commercial entertaining package. I feel like Raju Hirani's films are like that, and I love his films.
Yeah.
I love that maker and everything that he puts out. His films are like that, happy films, colorful films, vibrant films about interesting characters, interesting worlds, but very, very real problems. And oftentimes, more often than not, dealing with themes that have to do with social ills that plague society, like Three Idiots was about student suicide and stuff like that. This film also has got, you're speaking about feticide, infanticide, female infanticide, domestic violence, patriarchy, dowry. But it's really essentially a comedy, It's just, it's a dramedy in that sense. So it makes you laugh, it amuses you. There are unique characters and situations and very quirky. And at some point, if if the character and the character's journey connects with you, it'll also move you, and it has a social message, which hopefully can make an imprint on people's hearts and minds, because I think it's a very important message. And yeah, I'm playing a father in this film. I have played a father in Bajirao Mastani briefly, for a very brief part of that film, but a much more in-depth exploration here. Now, I just got married like 3 years ago, so I'm not yet a father, but in order to really develop that characterization, how do you do it? So you transport yourself to those experiences in life where you've witnessed this or experienced this. And for me, the closest and most significant is my experience with my father, where, when I've witnessed that in times of adversity, how he'd put every ounce of himself into the relentless pursuit of protecting us and providing for us. He would do anything to make sure that we were protected. And in the worst of times, and everybody's life has ups and downs, there's good and bad, sometimes things are sunny, sometimes things are stormy. It was in those times of adversity that I noticed that I knew I wasn't stupid. I could see and intuitive enough to know what's going on. But even in those difficult times, to see how, he'd do everything to protect us from that, and deep down I knew what's going on, but he was trying to protect and shield us from it, and I could see that effort in him too, even back then as an intuitive kid, that he was actually making an effort to make it seem like it was all good when we knew it was not. But it was so heartening even then to see the kind of, effort that it took, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever he did to be the best protector, the best provider for me, my sister, my mother. So it was after playing Jayesh and using that emotional memory of my father and pouring that into Jayesh, and after playing Jayesh, is that I have a much deeper understanding, a much deeper appreciation and value attached to everything that my father did for us. And yeah, I've been very fortunate in my life to have been shaped into a sensitive adult because I've been really raised by feminine forces. Like I mentioned, my father was in the pursuit of protecting us and providing for us. So on a daily basis, I was raised by Nani, Mummy, my Didi, who's like a second mother to me, now Deepika. They are my angels, you know. They protect me. They are my life force. They are the source of my joy. And yeah, I've been surrounded by strong feminine energies, and therefore I'm I'm my English is really good, but oftentimes my vocabulary is good, but oftentimes I find myself at a loss of words to describe to you what the women in my life mean to me. They are literally the center of my universe.
I'm so glad you put it that way. Dating, Deepika, through the time you got married and even now you continue, I think both of you shared such a respectful and empowering relationship for each other, and I think it comes from a place of very, very, secure person. I feel like all this has also showed where you think that feminine energy is there, and I think it's an observation.
Yeah.
I want to know.
You're absolutely right.
Tell me about that relationship, because I think for others who look up to you and see, I think it's so important to put there and be that person and be that man. I think defining that man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on every count, and thank you for that, because I oftentimes don't really stop to think about all these things. I'm just living it. It's in a moment like this that I realize, हाँ, ऐसा है और अच्छा है. I would start with saying that the reason I am this kind of man with my partner is because of my mother and sister. You know, the way they've raised me to be. This film as well, it begs the question, right? असली मर्द की परिभाषा क्या है? And it's forced me to think कि वाकई में यार असली मर्द की परिभाषा क्या है? I feel a real man is one who, like you said, is one very secure in who he is, and two, who uses his strength to uplift others. Yeah. I think I don't know any other way, but I find it like, I find it weird that it stands out to people as an anomaly, how supportive and secure I am. I mean, I feel like everybody should be.
I feel like more than an anomaly, we're like, thank God, that this is being normalized, because there's so much, the masculinity in the society is otherwise so like, ye asli mard ye hai.
No, I agree.
This is, I think, refreshing, I feel.
I agree. There is patriarchy prevalent in every aspect of society. But I recognize in Deepika, I look beyond her gender, when I look upon her, I look upon her as a spirit, as an energy. When I look upon her, I don't look upon her, I'm like, it's not the fact that she's a woman that comes to me. I first look at her soul. She, for me, is, what is Deepika? Is she a name? Is she the flesh, the flesh and blood body that she inhabits? So I look beyond all of these layers to recognize her soul. And her soul is beautiful. She's such a special energy. She's so kind and she's so good. And I think a lot of that has to do with the way she's been raised. Has a lot to do with her parents. She's a beautiful spirit and energy. And I recognize in her that when you add on the layers of flesh and blood, personality, name, what is her name, Deepika Padukone, what is she? When you add all of these things, I also recognize that she is more accomplished than I am. She's more evolved a person than I am. She's always been throughout her life more independent than I am. I'm getting there. I wouldn't even say taking steps, I'm taking strides towards that kind of evolution and independence, but she's already there. And I recognize that, I'm well aware of that. I can be that objective. And I also recognize that her emotional intelligence is superior to mine. She really is an amazing woman. like, I have such great admiration for her, and I know her more intimately than any other person, and yet I see her, and the way she lives her life with such drive and purpose, and the way she goes about it, the way she engages people, the way she lives a life of purpose where she can do good upon others and for others. I look upon everything that she manages on her. She runs her whole show herself, and she's so, like I said, so accomplished that one can only admire. And I do admire her. I admire her immensely. So yeah, I'm very proud of her. And these are all things that, like I said, because of the way my mom and sister have shaped me to be, it all comes, my appreciation for my woman, it comes to me very naturally.
And like I was saying before, and that is why I think that let's not discriminate, but you get asked questions about whether you want a boy and a girl, and it's preposterous.
There is a school of thought which says, hey, that's a bit inappropriate to
Yeah.
ask somebody straight up that too on a public forum, but it's cool. I was expecting it and I'm cool with it. It's fine. तेरे को लड़का चाहिए या लड़की? मुझे पूछो तो मुझे लड़की
I
चाहिए.
think you'd be a great father.
Thank you,
Because
madam.
you from what we've heard, you know what you want, and you're going to be empathetic, and that's
A
what's
lot
important.
of people in my life who I look up to and admire, who really I idolize, they're like gurus, mentors, my life, people I really, really look up to.
Yeah.
They've all echoed the same thing, so I'm beginning to believe it.
You are even online. You get so much love, but there are certain elements who don't seem to understand and are not progressive enough to see, and they'll pass comments about ये क्या कपड़े पहने हैं, लड़की की तरह क्यों करता है behave, and I feel that is so obnoxious because but I feel like you have dealt with all of that and you have maintained the sanity and continue to be who you are, and I feel that is important. I want to know, where does that sense prevail, because I think it helps a lot of people do it.
Yeah, I get messages like that, and I have to tell you, I those are some of my most cherished messages, when
Yeah.
somebody is like, you inspired me to be myself. I was like, man, what greater thing than that? Yeah, I over a period of time started losing the fear of being judged, and I feel like anybody who's being obnoxious online, saying one thing or the other, it's really just a reflection on them, and I actually sympathize with that, and I don't discriminate, I feel like even this whole thing about gender fluid fashion and all
Yeah.
that you mentioned is just like, I can only do me,
Yeah.
It's like, I have different moods, and I have different facets to my personality, and I do different things, some days I dress one way, some days I dress another way. I realized a long time ago, at least eight years ago, around, that whatever you do, there'll be somebody who will say good and somebody there'll be a flip side to it as well.
Yeah.
So you do you, because both yeas and nays are going to come regardless. So do what you feel like doing and do it for yourself and do what makes you feel good. Say what you want, be the way you want, do what you want. That age-old saying, right? लोगों का तो काम है कहना, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. So yeah, I take cognizance of everyone's opinion, but I have, touch wood, developed an impenetrable core, which that kind of opinion or criticism cannot penetrate, and that comes from just the fact that I know at the end of the day I operate out of a good place in my heart, you know. So I really have nothing to fear in that sense.
And that's wonderful, and I think that's why a lot of people, when you work with someone like Shalini Pandey, who's again an outsider, and then you have a director who's new, I'm sure it takes back to those days where you started, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes I was just thinking of this, that you've come such a long way, Ranveer.
Yeah.
And, you know, you, of course, legit superstar and everything right now, but I feel, I want to ask this question. What have you gained and what have you lost from that boy who started off in Band Baja Barat today? And what is it that I see different in you?
I have, over a period of time, rather unfortunately, my faith in humanity has waned. In general, I'm losing hope on mankind. Over a period of time, you know, it's just that I look up at the world around me and I just see it going from bad to worse. And I feel like in our lifetime, we may not see the end of the world, but our kids just might, you know, with the way things are going. You know, what the world has become, you know, especially during the pandemic, during the lockdown, it had a very deep, very immense impact on me. Everything was put on pause. We were cooped up in our homes and witnessing the carnage around and the suffering, the pain, and it really affected me. It really, really affected me, and I am convinced that we are living in possibly the worst period for humankind, and that just existing in this world is just agonizing. You know, everybody is suffering, and that is something, that kind of naivety, that kind of faith in the goodness of humankind, like everything is good and everything is happy and everything is nice. That kind of that I've grown up from being that kid who would believe all of that. I don't. These utopian ideas have all, you know, been washed off, and I have a very different worldview now.
And what's that?
And it all happened now in the pandemic, you know. I looked at everything that was happening around me, and I was so affected by all of it. Yet I'd look at my own life and I'd be like, look at me, I'm at home with the person who I love the most, and we're both healthy, and we've got a roof over our head, we've got food to eat, water to drink. There are so many things to be grateful for. Some things.
Woof! I think that answer itself tells me that you have changed a lot. Like,
yeah.
I feel like some years back you were giving a very different answer, and I feel it's very, very different. It's very wise.
I went through a lot in this lockdown, in this pandemic phase. You know, can you imagine? I've stopped living. I used to not, and now it's become even more. I just don't bank on the future. I don't live in the future at all. I've become even more present and even more grateful and even more in the moment. Past is the past, right? I don't dwell in the past. That's how I've always been. With regards to the future, it's very natural that you think कि आगे जाके क्या होगा, अगले साल क्या होगा, अगले 10 महीने में क्या होगा. बट छोड़ो यार, तुमको कभी रियलाइज, कभी सोचा था कि रातों रात ऐसा होगा? नहीं ना. तो कल तो कुछ भी हो सकता है. तो just be present, be in the moment, be grateful for today and live every day to the fullest, क्योंकि किसे पता कल क्या हो, कल हो ना हो.
I hope you're listening very, very intently to this very enlightened Ranveer Singh, because I am definitely.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मेरी तीसरी आँख खुल गई है.
And to end it, I'll make it a little bit more fun.
हाँ.
And here are a few questions that I hope will be fun as well.
Okay.
Short answers. Okay? Here we go. A rumor about yourself that makes you laugh.
That makes me laugh?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I want to give you a good answer. A rumor about myself that I find amusing or that makes me laugh.
That has to be that.
You know, there haven't been any rumors of late. I think people are just caught up. Comments तो मैं पढ़ता नहीं हूँ यार. देखो क्या होता है मेरे सोशल मीडिया पे, क्या होता है जो कमेंट्स प्रायोरिटाइज होते हैं एल्गोरिदम वाइज वो पॉजिटिव कमेंट्स होते हैं, क्योंकि एल्गोरिदम को भी पता है कि मुझे सिर्फ पॉजिटिविटी में इंटरेस्ट है, नेगेटिविटी में इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. सो as per the algorithm, the first few I know are going to be my lovers and friends who are going to, you know, say lovely, nice things and make me smile and cheer for me. So I read those and then and then I just stop. So I don't really read too many negative comments.
So nothing that
Jayeshbhai.
What is it that Jayeshbhai can do that Ranveer Singh can't?
What is it that Jayeshbhai is a superhero, man? I mean, he has an immense amount of emotional fortitude. Immense. He's like got a heart of gold and the resilience of a mountain. Yeah, and it's very inspiring. So I hope to be more like that.
What is the preconceived notion about Ranveer Singh that has obviously changed now?
A preconceived notion. There are so many. I mean, name it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think preconceived notion is that I'm a very frivolous character, you know, and of now when I was getting into this promotional campaign, my wife happened to mention to me that you're such a deep thinker, you are so intellectual and intelligent, and you've been in the business for 10 years and people just don't know that about you, and I feel like they should.
That's true.
So while you are shy about that side of you, that you feel like showing your intelligent side distances people from you, and that it alienates, make them feel alien to you. I used to feel like that. I used to be almost shy or embarrassed about
being like showing that side
showing that side, because I feel like it kind of distances people, you know. But it was Deepika who told me, hey, it's cool to show that side of you. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy of it. You are that. You are that with me. You are that with your friends and family and team and everything. But yet in your public persona, you don't allow that to come in, because somewhere you're thinking that people might feel distanced from me because of my level of intelligence. No, you be you. Or rather, you are you, but just be more of you. Be more authentically you. So she encouraged me. Then I would read, because I have a family of fans, you know, who write to me every day. And though I can't really reply to each message, but I read everything, and I read it every day. These are people who are so invested in me, and we share an inexplicable bond. They said it as well. And I was like, yeah, theek hai yaar, my loved ones are telling me, so maybe I should then be courageous enough to allow people to see that side of me. So now I'll more open about it.
Okay, the last one is fill in the blanks. Ranveer Singh cannot dash.
Ranveer Singh cannot wake up on time.
Really?
Can't. I struggle, and now my wife has bought us a weighted blanket, which is even more comfortable.
You don't feel
which it cocoons you so much. Now it's even more difficult to get out of
like
it.
a burrito in it.
Oh yeah, and it's the most efforted thing in my life is trying to wake up in the morning, and I'm a night bird. I'm completely nocturnal, so it's hard to fall asleep, and it's difficult to wake up in the morning. I'm still struggling with that.
Thank you so much. I must tell you that you've always shown your intellect, and I think that is you being real in most of my interviews. So thank you for that.
यार मैंने यही कहा उनको कि कोई मुझे उस तरीके से engage ही नहीं करता, शायद से क्योंकि मैं colorful कपड़े पहनता हूँ, सब लोग को लगता है ऐसा लगता होगा. So they always engage me like that only, you know, like for that you know, happy-go-lucky kind of nature of mine, which is also authentically me. I like to keep things light, given that everything is heavy anyway. I like to walk through this journey of life a little bit light on my feet, you know. So मैंने कहा यार कोई मुझे उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में प्लेस करके उस तरीके से एंगेज करे तो मैं बोलूँ ना, वरना तो सब लोग मस्ती कर रहे हैं और मस्ती वाले सवाल कर रहे हैं, या मेरे साथ मजे कर रहे हैं, जो कि मैं खुश हूँ, मैं वो उस तरीके से रह के भी खुश हूँ. But
can't be only that, na?
Yeah, but you engage me in that context, I'll respond in that context. So yeah, now I am 10 years into show business, getting more and more comfortable being me in the public sphere.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much, Ranveer.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm so looking forward to the film. And like I said, and I wrote about the trailer as well, I think it's such an important film, but in fact,
बड़ी
that
अच्छी है.
but it looks so entertaining, and I think that
मजेदार
is
है.
important. There you go. Thank you for continuing to entertain us, Ranveer Singh.
Till
Thank you once
till
again.
my last breath.
Thank you.
Thank you.